Hello everyone, this is Ashley from the Speedway Public Library, and today I'm going to show you the very basics of how to crochet. Now, to begin crocheting, you are going to need two things. The first of which is yarn, and the second is a crochet hook. Now, crochet hooks come in many different sizes. This one is a 5.5, and the reason I chose this size is because that is what is recommended by my yarn. Most yarns will have the recommended size on them. They also tell you what weight they are, so this one's a medium, and then also, washing instructions, drying instructions, etc. How much you need all depends on your project. If you're doing a simple scarf, you may only need one. If you're doing something as big as a blanket, you're going to need multiple of these. Sometimes it'll tell you, some of them will have how many you might need. Let's see. Yeah, this one does not. But sometimes they'll say how much you'll need for a certain size blanket or such. To begin, you're going to want to find the end of your yarn. Now, most yarns, when you buy them in a skein like this, you're going to see two different end pieces. One, you'll probably find somewhere along the edge here. I recommend ignoring that, because if you put your fingers through the top and pull out, you will find the piece in the middle. Now, this piece is nice because you can just pull it directly out, and it comes from the inside and starts unweaving it from the inside. Whereas if you pull from the side, you're going to be constantly having to roll your yarn to get that piece to unwind. So to begin, again, let's find our ends here. Let's see. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to create a slip knot. So to do so, I recommend putting your fingers, your thumb and your forefinger, into the middle of the ends of the yarn, kind of like so. You are going to twist the end piece under, and then with your fingers, you are going to grab it and pull it through. And that will create a slip knot. Going to put your crochet hook into that slip knot and then tighten it up. And now we are ready to begin what is called a chain stitch. A chain stitch is going to be the very first row of your crochet piece. Now, how many chains you need to put on all depends on how big of a piece you are making. If you are following a pattern, it will tell you how many chains. Otherwise, if you are just going off on your own, creating a scarf based on your own patterns, then that number is usually up to you. For me, if I'm making a scarf that's just a very basic, single stitch, double stitch type scarf, then I will just do it by sight. If I'm following a pattern or doing like a scallop design, then I usually have to put a specific number. So for this one, just because we are doing a beginner, introductory, I'm just going to do a chain stitch of 20. So to start, you're going to want to pull your yarn over. So you have the end piece, and you are going to, while holding onto that slip knot, pull it over. And then I recommend using your forefinger and thumb of your other hand to grab that tail that's here. And then you are going to use that hook to pull that piece of yarn through. And that creates your first chain. Now, how you hold the yarn in your other hand all depends on personal preference. Some people like to wrap it. I personally like to grab it with my fingers. That way I'm kind of directing it and it's easier to kind of pull through. So we have one chain. We're going to go ahead and continue again. So yarn over, hold that tail, and pull it under and through. So there's 2. Let's do that again. There's 3. Yarn over, pull through. There's 4. 5. Yarn over, pull through. There's 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. I'm going to just quickly do the last 10. Let's see, where am I at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alright, and there is a chain of 20. Now before we move any further, I do want to clarify that I am not a professional crocheter at all. This is simply just a hobby for me. I've been crocheting for about 10 years now. I was actually taught by a librarian that I grew up knowing, and she taught me the basics, and then I kind of just took it from there. It's only been in the last year or so that I've actually learned how to read patterns, though, primarily just because I wanted to learn some new patterns, new designs. But prior to that, I didn't have an interest. I just kind of, jumped in and, did whatever I thought looked cool. So yeah, not a professional by any means, but, I definitely know at least the basics. All right, so now that we have our chain of 20, we are going to want to start moving back this way. There's a whole bunch of different types of stitches that are, stitches that we could do. The first one I'm going to show you is called just a single stitch. So whenever we start going forward, so we have our yarn, again, holding it in one hand. We have the tail in between our forefinger and thumb, and we have our hook in our dominant hand. What we are going to do for the single is we are going to take the top of that hook and put it down into that first loop. Now if you notice, let's see, so you have kind of like this braid look, and we're going to look at this as kind of top and bottom, and that very first top hole is where we are going to stick the crochet hook down into. So now you have 2 loops on your hook, and you are going to yarn over with your yarn over, and you are going to pull it through the first loop only, just that first loop. So you have 2 again on there. We're going to yarn over one more time, and now we are going to pull it through both loops. And that has given us our first single stitch. So we're going to do that again. We're going to go down through the next loop. Now we have 2 on there. Yarn over, pull through the first one, yarn over, and pull through both. So now we're starting to get, it's going to start getting a little bit thicker. So let's go to that next one. So in our loops, we're going to go for this one right in between my thumbs here. So we're going to go down, yarn over, pull through the first, and then yarn over, pull through both. And again. And you can kind of see, if you kind of get lost and try and figure out which one is next, it's usually, let's see if I can get to focus. It's usually going to be that very next one. The one that your yarn is pulling, that right there by my thumb, that is the one that you just came through. So you want to go to the very next one. So down, yarn over, pull through the first, yarn over, and pull through both. You may see me occasionally going this way. That's how I was taught, but I think I've seen videos where people say it's better to go this way. But technically either kind of works. All right, down, yarn over, pull through the first, and pull through both. Down, yarn over, pull through the first, pull through both. Down, yarn over, pull through the first, pull through both. All right, and as you can see, we are starting to get that crochet look. So I'm going to very quickly finish up towards the very end. I'm going to stop right before that last one. And you definitely, as you get more and more used to crocheting, your speed definitely increases. It used to be that whenever I was crocheting, I had to be entirely focused, or else I would completely lose track of where I was. And now it's the point where I can be watching TV, I can be, listening to music, listening to an audiobook, etc., and still do just fine. Almost there. And occasionally it may start to kind of curve a little. That's just because of the tightness of how tight you're pulling those knots through. Yeah, you can just be careful about that, or just as you continue to go, as you make the piece bigger, it'll stop doing that. Alright, almost there. Alright, so I am just about at the end. As you can see, I just have one final loop right here. So I'm going to go ahead, go down, yarn over, pull through the first, yarn over, pull through the second. And now before we can continue and going back the other way, we have to do one final thing, and that is one chain stitch. So again, a chain stitch for this one, or yeah, chain stitch. So you're just going to go over and pull it through. So it's just because of how the counts go and everything, you just have to do that one final one at the end. All right, so now going back, you're going to see that there are kind of two spots you could actually put these through. There's here or here. Whichever one you put it through just kind of changes the look. If you can kind of see how this is a very smooth look, whereas down here we kind of have these lines. So if we continued to go, if we went through, let's say, if we say top and bottom again, top, bottom. If we go through the top, we're going to have a line start forming here. But if we go through the bottom here, then this is going to be kind of solid and smooth, and the lines will just stay on this side. Now you will need to make sure that as you are going back and forth, you are alternating which one you do. That way one side stays smooth, one side does not. But again, it also just depends on the pattern that you are doing. So that right there was the single stitch. I'm actually going to switch it up and show you a double stitch. So now, so the double stitch, you're going to take your yarn, and before you put it into one of the stitches, you are going to wrap it first, and go down, wrap it again, and you're going to pull that through just that first loop. So that one, the chain that's on here, and pull it through. And so now you have 3 on your hook. You're going to wrap it again, and you're going to pull that one through the first 2. Now you have 2 left. Wrap it again, yarn over, and pull it through those last 2. And that creates your first double stitch. So again, we're going to yarn over, go down, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And as you can see, the size of the double stitch is already taller than our single stitch. So this one right here, this is 2 rows, but yet our double stitch, which is just that we're doing 1 row right now, is already twice the size of our first 2 rows. So half of our piece is made up of just one type of stitch. So a double stitch is taller than a single stitch, and a treble stitch is taller than a double stitch. All right, so let's go on and continue. So again, we're going to go yarn over, go down to the next one, yarn over, pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, and again, yarn over, go down and through, yarn over, pull through the first, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And you can also look and see that the appearance of the stitch is a lot different. So the type of stitch you're doing really just depends on what it is that you are trying to make. So I'm going to do one more example and then I will finish this piece. So yarn over, down to the next loop, yarn over, pull through the first, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. All right, let me go ahead and quickly finish these. Oops. Like I said, I'm sometimes a little bit faster just because I've been crocheting for quite a while, but feel free to fast forward if you need to, or pause. Oops. If your hook comes off, just don't move the stand and quickly put them back in. There we go. Through 2, over, down, over, pull through, over, pull through, over, pull through. You can definitely see kind of that different appearance. Oops. Now I'm trying to go so fast that I'm messing up a little. That's okay. Bum, bum, bum. one of the great things about crochet is that you can make what are called amigurumis. And amigurumis are like the dolls and animals and things that, oops, I totally forgot to yarn over, that you can make out of yarn. I'm not sure if you can do amigurumis with knitting, but I know they are primarily a crochet thing. You will need to know how to read patterns though, and hopefully I will be able to add those images to this video. If not, I apologize, and I will add them in the description. That way, if you're looking at a pattern, you can at least recognize, oh, okay, that tells me I need, you know, this many single, this many double. All right, almost to the end here. All right, one more double. All right, and now at the very end, again, just like we did with that first single stitch row, now that we have gone to the very end, we are going to do one single chain stitch. And that will start our next row. All right. And now we are going to do what's called a treble crochet. And with a treble, instead of just yarning over once, we are actually going to be yarning over twice. So we're going to go 1, 2, okay? And now we are going to go down into our first stitch here. Oops, lost the light. There we go. All right, so we now have a total of 4. We're going to wrap it and then draw through 2 loops. So 1 and 2. So now we have 3 on here. We're going to yarn through or yarn over, go through 2 again, 1, 2. Now we have 2 on here, yarn over, and go through the last 2. So that is a treble stitch. So again, yarn over twice, down into your loop. You have 4 on there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You'll see this one is definitely a taller stitch, because again, this is now half the size of our piece, but yet this is 1 stitch compared to 3 stitches. As you see, it's basically about the same size. So again, yarn over twice. Go the other way. Yarn over twice, down through the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, it definitely has a different appearance. The gaps in between the stitches are going to be larger on this one. So let's do a couple more together. So yarn over twice, down through, yarn over, pull through 2, there we go, yarn over, get some more yarn, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. yarn over twice, go down, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, we'll do one more together. So yarn over twice, go down, yarn over once, pull through 2, so you have 3 on there, yarn over, pull through 2, you have 2 on there, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is that treble stitch. So like I said, this is just a very basic video on how to do 3 different crochet stitches. So we had our single, our double, and our treble. Things that you can make with just these, or even just the single. You could very easily make washcloths. You could just get maybe a coarser, or not coarser, but a softer yarn, or even just the regular yarn. You know, dishcloths. You could also do squares if you wanted to make a blanket, but you wanted to do maybe different colors. You could do 20 block squares, and then crochet them together. Lots of different ideas. To make a hat, just make a big gigantic rectangle, and then you're gonna crochet the sides together, and at the very top just kind of pull it tight so that it kind of like that. You could do that with just rectangle. A couple different ideas. Once you, like I said, learn patterns, start doing that, then you can go into like making the amigurumi, little characters. You can make sweaters. You could do, intricate, blankets, bags. You could do a fresh produce bag if you're going to the store or going to a farmer's market. Those things may be limited at the moment, but eventually they'll come back. If not, this summer, maybe next. If you have any questions about crocheting, I will do my best to answer them. For now, we do have some books that are available on Hoopla. So again, that is hoopladigital.com, or you can use the app on your smart device, and there are some crocheting books on there. I also recommend looking at YouTube videos. That's how I learned a couple different stitches. And yeah, so again, if you have any questions, let me know. You can either comment on this video or send me a message on Facebook, or even use the contact form on our website, and just whatever works. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week for another video.